Hypocrisy.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Lawsplaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Ricada of Ricada Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How are we doing today, chat? What's up? I'm unmuted, I think. I'm unmuted for the first time in human fucking history. Woo! All right. How's it going, guys? Plead the Fifth says, imagine if Nick just added 15 minutes of music and memes to the front of the stream like every other damn streamer. But that'd be a lie, because I'd be 15 minutes late after that. Like, I'd press play and then I go. I get abducted, human trafficked into Istanbul. Emphasis on the bull, am I right? And that'd be a mess, man. Happy Friday, guys. Happy Friday. I've been fucking asleep for the past, 2 hours or so. Just my body is trying to catch up. I'm almost entirely past the sickness. It's really nice. There's just a couple lingering effects, and like healing that shit up is just your body having to rest. So, but hey, who cares? That doesn't matter to you guys. Like not in the mean way. Hold on. I didn't mean that in a shitty way. I meant that in a nice way. Like it doesn't need to concern you guys. It's all good on my end. And the show's going to happen whether or not that was happening. Tonight, we're going to react to some stuff. We've got Matt Walsh doing a free speech talk. And then we've got the oral arguments from the Supreme Court on Trump's immunity case. So that's what we've got on the agenda here. Matt Walsh is not someone I tend to like. Even when I agree with him, I'm like, ew, gross. Right? Like, I don't know. Something about him is strange to me. It always kind of has been. Ever since he had his blog, the Matt Walsh blog, before he was bought by The Blaze, I didn't really like a lot of the ways he would convey arguments. But I know a lot of people do. He's really popular. It's fine. He has a pretty good beard. Like, it's very full and thick. Okay. And he wears lumberjack. God, I was not going to wear a flannel today. I was not going to do that just because of him. Shit. Okay. Well, he has glasses, which I used to have, but I took them off, so I looked dumber. But no, he's got this talk about these campus protests. It's Israel-Palestine stuff, which I thought they were done. Like, I thought all the crisis acting Palestinians and all the Hollywood Israelis like got together and finally were like, cool, let's be done having another war or whatever. And then we could all just go back to like hearing news stories on occasion of some like Gazan school being blown up. Going, God, it's probably better now or whatever. Like that was what I was hoping. But then no, it's still going, and like people are protesting this because they still deeply care. They don't. Right? Like a student protest over the Israel-Palestine conflict. I'm like, you're in speech 202. Like, you don't give a shit about Israel and Palestine in any practical sense. I mean, you just know that you're supposed to go bitch about something, so you do. That's fine. Everybody was in college once, even people who were homeless and didn't go. So like everybody knows that sentiment, but it's still a thing. And now like Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, any anti-Semitism here in Texas, if I gets arrested, like, yeah, stand up and chase me, you bitch. But this is a weird thing because Greg Abbott's talking about like how anti-Semitism needs to be literally illegal. And if you anti-Semite on campus or in a public college, that you need to be expelled. And I'm sitting here like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about here, Greggy? Little Abbotty poo rolling around, issuing edicts like some sort of broken Southern FDR, maybe with half the racism. Little bit more charisma. I didn't like FDR, but what is Greg Abbott doing? Like, what? Why is this a thing? And I know it's a thing not just in Texas. And first of all, I don't know why Texas cares about Jews at all, like outside of just a normal caring about people. There, you caught me on camera saying they're people, because they are. They're nice people. They're wonderful people. But like state governors, like I know the reason, right? I got it. The JQ or whatever. What does the J and the JQ stand for? It's like the jewelry quotient, right? It's like, no, it's Johnny Quest. Yeah. No, but it's, there's this idea that, all of their funding and their ability to get elected and, all the backroom deals and stuff, that all comes from Jews or something. So they just cannot talk about Israel negatively. Like, it's a crazy concept, except for the fact that they keep making it look like it's true. And like, I don't know why, because I never wanted to believe that shit. I'm still like, no, Anderson Cooper's just gay. Like, that's the media. And then they're like, look at the list of CEOs. And I'm like, oh my God, none of them work on Saturday. And you're like, that's kind of weird, right? But you never want to believe it. But then they act as if it is the truest thing when they're like, by the way, this is Texas. You can free speech all over right out of your AR-15, straight up Saddam's ass. Blah, 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 blah. Don't say anti-Semitic things or you go to prison. Wait, what? Like in Texas? I thought the anti-Semitism would be bigger in Texas like everything else. Like you'd have longer words. What's a longer slur? Rhymes with bicycle and icicle, right? Like Mike-sicle? I don't know. But yeah, now we've got another governor trying to make it illegal to talk bad about Israel and the Jewish people, which I don't want people to talk bad about Jews or anybody else, but it shouldn't be illegal to do so. That's very strange. So that's what Matt Walsh is talking about. And I was like, this is going on. Like, this is a thing that's happening. That's weird. That's weird. So we've got that. And then, yes, the oral arguments on Trump's immunity claim. Now, the oral arguments for Trump's immunity in front of the Supreme Court are 2 hours and 40 minutes long. There's no way we're going to get through that entire segment tonight because I talk too much. I pause and talk while these things go on, try and talk about the arguments, explain the arguments or the philosophy of law and the Constitution behind them from my perspective, because I guess that matters. But that's what I try and do. But that means that if it's 2 hours and 40 minutes, it takes considerably longer to go through. It's called e-fapping or something. But yeah, that's where you add like just a bunch of commentary. I'm going to try and do that a little bit to Matt Walsh because I don't want to hear him the whole time. I want to hear me. But the Supreme Court will take longer. The main goal tonight is to get through at least the government's argument on immunity or Trump. I can't remember which one started. I don't know who starts, I guess. Whoever starts, we're going to get through the first argument on the immunity question. The immunity question presented to the Supreme Court is, I believe, does the president have absolute immunity for all acts while in office as president? Tom Colby says, I think maniacal was the word you were looking for. Maybe. Who says, or Denny's? Oh, yeah. Well, Denny's, look, Denny's is gross. Serene says, curious, Nick, have you had a Western blot to check for Lyme disease? It's rampant in Minnesota. I haven't had any ticks on me in ever. I have to pull them off my cats, but I don't get tick bites. So no, I've not had a Lyme disease test, but thank you for your concern. Like, guys, I know exactly what I got. I got medication for it. It's all good. And it's going away, which is nice. I'm on the upswing. Focus on the up. But you're going to fap Matt Walsh? Yeah. Well, no, I'm not going to fap to Matt Walsh, though. I'm going to go fap Matt Walsh. Bring Kurt back on and talk about things that aren't Denny's and CP. Will you realize? Okay, this is your fault, Lord of the Kino. Do people get what statement I was very importantly trying to make about child pornography not being classified the same as obscenity by the Supreme Court? Now, it is obscene. Obviously, it's obscene in the colloquial definition, but the Supreme Court definition of obscenity means something that is so irresistibly sexually arousing that it has no other value than sexual. I don't want CP described that way. That's horrifyingly disgusting, right? I would like them to create some category that doesn't require sexual arousal from the viewer to become obscene. That's what pornography is without a plot. Like that's what they're saying. That's where that category came from. So obscenity is this idea that something exists purely for sexual arousal and interest. And so what they're trying to like take there are non-literary depictions of sexual, non-literary, non-creative depictions of sexuality that are presented just for a gross sexual interest. I don't know how you even measure that. Like, I'm not sure. They don't either. Their answer was, we'll know it when we see it. And it's like, okay, but they really haven't found a piece of pornography that they've known to be obscene. I mean, maybe something here and there. There's some like sexual stories and stuff like that are just nasty. They actually do often involve children too, which is again why I kind of want the category named something else for CP, is because the people who are irresistibly aroused by naked children are the problem, right? Like that's the problem, but the rest of society isn't. And so it's not categorically obscene if society does not find that sort of sexual arousal, that prurient interest isn't piqued by that content. And I would hope that's true. So my point was, I just want some different category that is not under the obscenity test for CP. Like, does it involve the sexual exploitation of children at all? Whether or not someone likes it or is aroused by it, that need like sexual exploitation of children. You know what? Get out. Get out. And when I say get out, I mean get into the oven. Fuck you. Die. Burn to death, you piece of garbage. Like, that's what I want. But yes, that's what I was getting there. And also Denny's. If you go to Denny's, get in the fucking sea. All right. Anyway, that's just that. That's Lord of the Kino's fault. So if you have a problem with that, you go and you give him a nice little nipple job. Shut up, I can cook, says Heineck. KPK still sex harassing me. Servy Jelly. Can we get my loves Trump and Ann Coulter on? Yes, I'll get right on having Trump on the show. I'll be snoring when you read this, love. And Kimmy Joe says free speech does not protect inciting violence. No, incitement is not protected speech. Correct. But what is incitement is always the question. Incitement has a very specific test from Brandenburg versus Ohio. I guess we'll be talking about that at some point. Are you one of those IHOP eaters? No, like I used to go to IHOP when they would do the all-you-can-eat pancakes, and I ate a lot back when I was young and had a metabolism that was more alive than John Lennon. But no, I wasn't ever a big IHOP fan either. I like Cracker Barrel's the best breakfast chain that I like just because they're biscuits. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about the... Stop distracting me with breakfast. God damn it, I want some biscuits. Gravy and apple butter. Okay. Let's jump into this Matt Walsh thing. Let's start there. Can we do that? Is that okay? You guys seeing this? You like this? Let me get this pulled up. Thank God Chrissy Mayer posted on Twitter, so I don't have to like go look too hard. If this gets super boring, I'll just stop doing it. But I think it might be interesting because people watch Matt Walsh, so it must be good, right? Like that's how that works. Like that's why the Daily Wire is actually great, is because everybody watches it. Or do they watch it because it's good? I don't know. Here we go. Oh my God, that was loud. We're going to turn this down. Phoenix Orem says, hey, Nick, what does a sprinter eat before a race? Nothing. They fast. Godspeed. Thank you. Thank you for that dad joke. It was wonderful. And I want it. Nothing more in my life. Jack Sparrow 0311 says, thou doth protest too much, playing like you're not Jewish. Dude, I checked because I kept looking at my nose. I can't not, right? Like, because I just look forward and it's there. I can literally see it right now, like in the corner of my right eye's vision. I can see a faint outline of my nose. That's how big it is. That's what I live with every day. All right. So I was like, I have to be Jewish. Like, I just want to know if I get a bank when I grow up. And so I checked with one of those ancestry things, and I'm not Jewish at all, like zero. I was like, can I get a little bit? Just a little bit. Can I get protected? No, I can't. A lawyer that runs his own media company has a huge nose. You fool no one. Look, you imitate what you demand to be. PJH1001 is now a monthly supporter. Thank you on Rumble. Indiana the Dog says, POTUS can't change term limits of Congress or remove Supreme Court justices who issue opinions from corrupt motives. Bush Cheney should have shot down remaining rogue planes on 9/11 without prosecution. I mean, they could have. They almost did. They almost shot down all they were scrambling jets. Or that's what they wanted us to believe. All right, here we go. Let's get Matt Walsh on the show. So this is definitely hello, Matt Walsh. Nice shelf of weird trophies. What is this? Is that a basketball trophy? It doesn't matter. A nice shelf of trophies and a banjo in the background. Was that from your time on Deliverance? LDG Free the Net says social media Napster is coming. Hope you enjoy. What the fuck is social media Napster? Chrominian says, Nick, what is a woman? Not Michelle Obama. All right, let's see what this guy has to say about free speechifying.
Well, it is, I think, established that I am not a fan of the pro-Palestine protests happening on college campuses all across.
I made him small because I was small and it made me feel little. So I made myself bigger to make me feel big. Also, I don't think he has anything that we need to see other than his flannel. His flannel has more patronizing than mine, so it's got to be shrunk.
Across the country. On this show just yesterday, I went into detail arguing that these protests are BLM reborn. There was always destined to be some kind of race-related protest movement in the spring and summer before the election. In 2020, it was...
My race-related protest is that I thought Oscar Pistorius was innocent and that chick deserved another bullet.
George Floyd. This time around, it's taken the form of sympathizing with Hamas. But at bottom, it's the same people, the same activists, funded by the same wealthy backers who, just as in 2020, can ultimately be traced back to George Soros. Who else? And they're angry about...
Is Soros Rome? Still? Didn't he, give up all of his cool stuff to his kid? Only in front of scenes. I'll take over country. Can this guy die? What does it take to pop a Soros? What do you have to do to get rid of him? Can we send Lizzo? Be like, will you just do the splits on top of this man? We can watch a bunch of money spew out of all of his orifices and he can just go away.
About basically the same things, many of them, even if the conflict in Israel has nothing at all to do with racial grievances in the U.S.
It does.
These activists and the left more broadly are still viewing it through that prism. They see Hamas as revolutionaries fighting back against white power structures
Thank God.
Colonialism. They see this as marginalized brown people warring against white oppressors. It's all about systemic racism. Everything is always about that.
Yes. Wait, did he just say the Jews were white? White oppressors? Aren't Palestinians technically Caucasian? Or is that Indians? God, I can't ever fucking remember what the Caucasians are. Where are the white people at?
Said many times, they will always side with the less white side or the browner side, if that's how you want to put it. So I'm not a fan of these people or their movement. In fact, I despise everything they stand for. And I've also said, including just yesterday,
he doesn't like the browner side. Motherfucker hates the brown side, like those Oreos. What a piece of trash this guy is. Those are good, you asshole.
That any protester breaking the law should be rounded up and dragged away in handcuffs immediately. Throw the book at any of the lawbreakers. If they're setting up illegal encampments, if they're vandalizing or causing any property damage at all, if they're engaging in any acts of violence at all, if they're making explicit threats of violence against Jewish people or...
Let me just go ahead and do this real quick. No, Matt, actually, let me stop you right there. Because once you say if they're violating the law in a protest, then you've already conceded that all laws involving the regulation of protests are presumptively valid and should be violable and therefore punishable. I don't like protesters. I don't go to protests. I don't want to be out there getting stabbed or manhandled or whatever because I'm a cute little thing. I don't want to do that out in public. Other people go do that. That's fine. But simply saying, wow, they violate a law. Hey, Matt, remember the 9/11 of the modern era, which is January 6th. Those people who sat on a fence, literally, not Tim Pool style, but literally sat on a fence and yelled, they got charged with trespassing and attempting to violate an official act of Congress. Should we throw the book at them because they violated laws? The violation of laws doesn't occur until you're convicted, man. You didn't violate the law. You're not guilty until you're guilty. I know it's like a tautology, but this is one of the fucking weird blind spots of vapid conservatism is that they're so hell-bently bred into being like law and order people that like they've respecterized cops for so fucking long that they can name like departments by badge number, and they go, well, we have to have some limit to something, and these guys have to be able to do something to these people. It's like, just because they violated a permitting requirement. I'm sorry, thought this was America. Where in the Constitution is there a permitting requirement on the freedom of assembly? There isn't. The Supreme Court has upheld it as a reasonable restriction on time, place, and manner for speech. But time, place, and manner restrictions for speech are a fiction created by judges in a time when protests became inconvenient for American politicians who had political capital. Like, that doesn't mean it was ever intended to be, a reasonable time, place, and manner restriction. That sounds like free speech. It's not. It never was. We shouldn't endorse it and support it just because you have some fucking anal-driven need to go fucking back the blue. God damn it. Stop it. Stop kowtow cucking to government authority just because you have an R by your name. Fucking babies. Oh, I hate these people. Stop backing the blue just because. You can like individual cops who do good things. But the police department structure and the law enforcement structure in the United States is your enemy. It is structured as your enemy. It wasn't built that way. It was built in an investigatory capacity. Now it's in a peacekeeping and preventative capacity, which necessarily tramples your rights by design and then apologizes for it later, but doesn't compensate you. After you pay thousands and thousands of dollars just to get acknowledgement that you were wronged by your government. That's the system that says, wow, we should throw the book at all protesters. Yeah, if a guy slugs a cop, maybe put him in cuffs and arrest him and review the footage, like go back to the replay, get an NFL guy to announce it, that's fine. But just saying anytime they violate any law, it's like, well, a lot of laws are bullshit. Like the law that says Matt Walsh gets to be on TV. Bullshit.
Any other group of people, if they're standing in the road and blocking traffic, if they're engaging in criminal activity of any kind, they should be thrown in jail. And if hundreds of them are committing crimes at once, then arrest hundreds of them, put them in buses and take them to jail. Very simple. And I've been clear about my feelings.
Put them in buses and take them to jail. Sounds like public school. But again, saying that anyone who's breaking any law should be arrested and charged or whatever. No, how about not? Like, how about we not do that? Because there are laws that exist that have no fucking purpose, other than some politician needed to jerk off onto paper and be recognized. And they don't serve the Constitution or its people. Remember, we're the fucking boss, not the government. The government is the enforcement arm of us. But when do you feel like you last made a law that got enforced by the government rather than the government telling you what it's going to do to you? When do you last feel like the fucking boss? Do you ever feel like the boss, Matt Walsh? Is it just when Ben Shapiro's the bottom?
Was on that subject. But right now, I have a bone to pick with the other side of this dispute. And before we get to the more significant problem, I will, first of all, confess some annoyance at some of the people who have been so bold in speaking out against these protests. Take Speaker Mike Johnson, for example, who went to Columbia University yesterday to denounce the protests and call for the president of the university to resign. Watch.
Sadly, Columbia's administrators have chosen to let the threats, the fear, and the intimidation of the mob rule, to overtake American principles like free speech and the free exchange of ideas and the free exercise of religion. They have co-opted First Amendment arguments to protect genocide and to elevate the voices of anti-Semitism.
I want to elevate the voices of everybody without regard to what they say. You see, there's content neutral speech restrictions. Those are the those are time, place, and manner restrictions, right? You cannot have speech at all this time, at this place, or in this manner. That's content neutral. Now, when you get to content specific, where you decide like what kind of speech is allowed, like speech about politics, speech about religion, that's another layer. And then there's there's perspective-based speech or viewpoint-based speech discrimination, where one viewpoint is okay, but the other viewpoint is not. If one viewpoint is okay, all viewpoints must be valid as a speech specifically. Because once you get into viewpoint-based discrimination on speech, you don't have freedom. Once you say, I can advocate genocide of Israelis, but not Palestinians, you don't have freedom. And same goes the other way. If you say, I can advocate genocide of Israelis, but not Palestinians, if you can't do the other, there's not freedom of speech. That's just a government invoked opinion. That's it. But this is where we come into these problems, is because Republicans, Democrats, whoever, they all want to protect Israel and the Jewish people so hard, as if Israel and the Jewish people have no agency to protect them. They have the best goddamn marketing arm on the fucking planet. The ADL mixed with the SPLC. Like, can you even stop? Have you ever not heard of any anti-Semitism that has occurred? I swear, they ran out of onion bagels at a Bruegger's in Iowa one time, and some guy's like, anti-Semitism, and it made national news. They will always tell you about anti-Semitism because their fucking ad arm is better than any advertiser on the planet. Dear God, could you imagine how much Viagra they would sell if it was like only cut ones, right? Like if they had the ADL advertising Viagra, it'd never be available. Just like me emotionally.
Proven themselves to be incapable of achieving their basic responsibility, which is keeping students safe. We just can't allow this kind of hatred and anti-Semitism to flourish on our campuses, and
Why?
It must be stopped in its tracks.
Why must anti-Semitism be stopped on campuses? By the government. That's the trick. By the government. Look, if you want to go stop anti-Semitism, go do it. Cool. Great. If you want to go start anti-Semitism, I guess go do it. Just be funny about it or whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't give a shit. Like, if you want to go start an anti-white thing, like, yay. I'll try and come up with funny names to help out. Like a bounty bandit. Is that like an like, because like the fucking paper towels are white. So it's like, are you a bounty bandit? If you're a white guy who steals bikes, I don't know. Like, what are funny racial slurs for everybody other than black people? Like, black people have great racial slurs that we use against them. Right? Oh, I know the white racial father. God damn it. I'm joking. No, but seriously, like, if you want to go do like an anti-race thing, like, go for it. The natural consequences will come out. Because, like, you'll piss people off in one way or another, or you'll make them laugh and you'll be a comedian. That'll be great. You can do either one. But why does the government have to stop any of this? Why does the government have to say fucking anything at all about this? They don't. That's the First Amendment. It's like, guys, seriously, no, we mean it. Don't. Yeah, that's you guys, all you elected weirdos who just are trying to find ways to like touch the pages or whatever. Don't. Just go be your little ivory tower elites.
Those who are perpetrating this violence should be arrested. And I'm here today.
What violence?
I'm here today.
What violence? That was an interesting question. Like, what violence? Because, again, if there is violence, maybe they should be arrested. Is there violence? I don't even know. I'm not following these fucking stories. Almsy, you can't say what you want on a super chat. Just type it in here. Tag me. You don't have to send a super chat. Wawa says, I hate you cucking for those terrorist Soros agitators, but thanks for your stream. You look better, Nick. I'm not cucking for anybody. It's the same goddamn thing. Do you really want, like, anytime a government disapproved protest comes up that they get to go arrest them all? Oh, they're Soros backed. Oh, well, tomorrow's the Koch brothers, baby. Like, that's how it goes every time. If you want to use the Soros source, you're going to get the Koch brothers source. And those guys don't even have any powder. They're gay. They probably do. Probably mounds of it. Just, can you imagine? It's snow time. Here we go.
Joining my colleagues and calling on President Shafiq to resign if she cannot immediately bring order to this chaos.
What order to the okay.
As Speaker of the House, I am committing today that the Congress will not be silent as Jewish.
Isn't Soros Jewish? Wait a minute. No more anti-Semitism, that fucking piece of garbage, George Soros. As what his blood pressure was, it just was a Star of David. He's never dying. He's going to sit there in the night sky as a big hairy blimp in a Speedo. Some random Italian model wife floating in orbit. Could you imagine having to have sex with that guy? Like as like his trophy wife? The one he gets, like, he just picks him up off the, like, whatever modeling competition he happens to walk by, and she's just like, hey, what? And she's just floating around him. Like, every Wednesday you'll get close enough. Just like when I watch Real Housewives of Orange County. And, like, she eventually floats in, and you just hear the crying start. Billionaire. I'm a billionaire now. I'm a billionaire now. I'm a billionaire now. Every time.
Students are expected to run for their lives and stay home from their classes hiding in fear. In the House of Representatives, we've already acted to address anti-Semitism on campuses. We have passed a number of statutes to address this matter, and we call upon the U.S. Senate to act upon our legislation.
So the House has passed statutes to address the manner of anti-Semitism on campus. Hey, House, remember that line in Grumpy Old Men when he says, why don't you pull your lip over your face and swallow? Why don't you put that low-capacity magazine in your mouth and swallow? Fuck you. I hate the government.
Okay, we'll get back to the anti-Semitism bit in a moment, but the point is that Mike Johnson was very clear about condemning this movement, and when asked about his message to Columbia students participating in the protest, here's what he said.
What is your message to the students inside the encampment right now?
My message to the students inside the encampment is go back to class and stop the nonsense.
Don't tell me to go to class, you bitch. Oh, I bet you were one of those. I got perfect attendance in college. What was Mike Johnson's stupid degree in? What was this fucking loser? God, oh, Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House. Why does Speaker of the House contact his main thing here? I don't want to contact this guy. Like doxing him? Can you dox a member of Congress? I don't think that's real. What did he? Oh God. Oh. His major's in looking retarded. Hold on. I want to see the about thing on him. Hold on. I don't want to see his press release. The soft edge. Why is it called the soft edge? That's gross. Is there a wiki? Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House wiki. Hold on. Louisiana politician. Okay, let's find his CV here. Oh, profession, lawyer and politician. Oh, good. God damn it. Two terrible people. A legal career. Wait, so what's his education? Johnson was born in Shreveport, Louisiana. Big shout out to Shreveport. The oldest of four children to Gene Johnson and Patrick James, Pat Johnson, who died in 2016. He said that he is the product of an unplanned pregnancy and that his parents were teenagers when he was born. They later divorced. Wait, he's the oldest? Oh, wait, no, he's the oldest. I thought he was the young. I did that backwards in my head. I was like, damn, still unplanned teenagers at the fourth one. That would have been gross. In 1984, while serving with the Shreveport Fire Department, Pat Johnson was severely injured and disabled in a fire at a cold storage facility. Fellow firefighter Captain Percy R. Johnson was killed in that fire. Pat Johnson never returned to work. Too many Johnsons. That's not what she said. Never returned to work as a firefighter, choosing instead to become a hazmat consultant. He also co-founded the Percy R. Johnson Burn Foundation, which aided burn victims and their family. The younger Johnson... The younger Johnson wanted to follow in his father's footsteps, but his parents forbade him from becoming a firefighter. Was it his parents or his frail arms? Johnson is a graduate of Captain Shreve High School in Shreveport. He earned a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration from Louisiana State University, becoming a first-generation college graduate. In 1998, he graduated from Louisiana State's Paul M. Herbert Law Center with a Juris Doctor degree. He was a constitutional lawyer before entering politics. I guess he forgot all that shit. So there you go. He's got a very important education in business administration. Let's see. LDG Free the Net gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much. And the Chugi Show Live says I protested lockdowns, wearing masks, forced vax in Columbus, Ohio. We were kind of loud. There was some dancing, singing. Want them to be allowed to protest because I want that right if the government ever does it again. I always want people to have the right to protest. It's just not my thing to do. I want other people to do it. I don't want them to do it in the highway, right? Like I don't want them to stop traffic or like ambulances or whatever, but I want people to be able to protest. Like that's fine. That's the whole purpose of being an American. Almsy hates Google so much. Here, let me find your thing. Robert Anderson says you will cooperate with the state for the good of the state and your own survival. You'll confess to the crime of which you're accused. You'll be returned to a productive and loyal citizen. Productive and loyal citizen. No one's ever called me productive and loyal. Oh my God. So Almsy says, I do not understand how the political left can say BS that is completely anti-Jew, but the political right can't have their own opinions. The hypocrisy of the left has no ends. It's criminal. But yeah, the hypocrisy is easy when you have power. Hypocrisy is not acting. Sorry, I was burping. Hypocrisy is not acting anopposite to a stated opinion. Hypocrisy is lacking the power to make the anopposite action irrelevant. That's hypocrisy. It has nothing to do with what you say and everything to do with your inability to make it not matter.
Look, if we want to have a debate on campus about the merits of these things, let's do that. But you can't intimidate your fellow students and make them stay home from class. Think about that. Is that right?
No amount of college protests could make me stay home from class. I wasn't going anyway. What? Who went to college to go to college? Oh my God, I went to college to like be around people and have a good time. Like, look, I went to some classes, like I graduated or whatever. Then there were other classes where it's like, do you really want to go? Like, that guy's accent's really thick, and I don't care about Saudi Arabian C++ code. Like, I don't give a fuck. I probably could have stopped 9/11 if I would have gone to that class, except it was after 9/11. It was on 9/12.
Do you think that's right? Stop wasting your parents' money, Congressman.
Oh, fuck you. Stop wasting your parents' money. It's you, Mike Johnson, you and your bitch ass Republicans have been giving all these fucking people more money. It's not even their parents' money anymore. It's mine. It's taxpayers' money that go into all the Pell Grants and all the minority grants and all the, well, there aren't non-minority grants, but all the grants that's out there, and then all the student loans and the debt forgiveness and all the fucking the low interest loans and the subsidized loans and all this shit. You're the one making this more expensive, you idiot. It's you and your ilk. You should be hunted down like elk.
Congressman Lawler says. I think that's right. Last one.
So you're wasting your parents' money, he says, and he's right. They are. I take no issue with what was said in that second clip.
Both of these guys know exactly how everybody pays for college. Right? You're wasting your parents' money. Most of these people aren't wasting their parents' money. They're wasting your money, my money, Matt Walsh's money. They're not wasting their parents' money. That's the whole thing. That's why there's so much fucking student debt, is because their parents aren't paying for college. Which, by the way, who cares whose money they're wasting? Don't you wait? Stop wasting your parents' money. Why? Don't you want these people wasting their parents' money? Their parents raised that. Like, that's the person's money I want wasted. Look, I just don't know how many fucking, I don't even know what these people would eat. Like, how much falafel I want purchased if they're not sending their kid through college. Send them to basket weaving school. I don't give a fuck. But stop wasting your parents' money. Oh, yeah, nice lecture. Stop privately spending on college on things that you and your parents want to spend on. Listen to the Republicans out there. Stop doing what you want with your money. To be mad that you fuckers vote our money into their pockets. That's what you should be mad about. Mike Johnson, you piece of garbage. Matt Walsh, stop spending your parents' money. Matt Walsh, why? You think their parents are going to give it to you? No, they're going to give it to Chunk Yogurt or whatever. Because he looks like them. Like, whatever. Why are you? Republicans cannot not suck the cock of government. They just can't fucking do it. They can't stop themselves. It will always come back to this. They're always like, free choice, free business, capitalism. Stop wasting your parents' money. Why? They should be able to like just take their parents' money and put it in a fucking blender and shove it in their ass or whatever for New Year's. What do you care? That's private money. That's the one thing we all want to be able to do, is to waste our own goddamn money. Your parents are sending out the good. Maybe their parents will realize what the fuck they're wasting the money on, pull that person back and slap them into goddamn oblivion, or we can bring back like child burning or whatever we need to do, like sacrifice them to Molech and Asherah Like, Moloch, I know you take the little ones, but will you take this big one, please? Because it's a disappointment to me. Like, maybe that'll happen if they waste their parents' money, but they're not wasting their parents' money because guys like Mike Johnson are out there voting that money into the out of our pockets and into those kids' student loans. And then the interest is going back to some bank the government approves of taking the interest from us. The government approved the bank, gave them permission on the interest rate, guaranteed the loan just in case whatever, and then paid it back. The government did that. Mike Johnson, Republicans did that right alongside the Democrats because it was so fucking popular. Stop wasting your parents' money. I want them to start wasting their parents' money. Not mine, not yours, not Matt Walsh's. Well, waste his money because he's dumb.
But it's hard not to notice a stark contrast here. You know, when it comes to the pro-Palestine demonstrations, he is bold and loud in his denunciations. But what did he have to say only a few years ago when BLM mobs were torching our cities? Now, those protests, quote unquote, were far, far, far more destructive, like by an infinite margin. What was Mike Johnson's response back then? Well, let's take a trip down memory lane, shall we?
What did you feel when you watched the video of George Floyd being killed?
I was outraged. I don't think anyone can view the video and objectively come to any other conclusion but that it was an act of murder. And I felt that initially.
Speaking of an act of murder, welcome Sean, potentially criminal, and their viewers who have joined in a raid. Hello, guys. Lovely to have you here. This is Mike Johnson talking about the horror of George Floyd being killed by Derek Chauvin. You know what? I'm going to be fair to him here. When I saw that video the first time, I was outraged too. I was like, I don't care if he died from fentanyl. I really don't. Why is this smug ass fucking cop sitting here kneeling on this guy for this long? Like, why is this happening? This is just, if nothing else, this is retarded and looks bad for the PD. He didn't have to do it that way. Like, he could have done it any other way. He could have let him just fentanyl out or whatever. I don't care. But Chauvin sat there for 9 minutes looking like a smug asshole. There was no way around the fact that he looked like a smug asshole. That doesn't mean he's guilty or not guilty. But that sculpted the opinions of many Americans because of the look on his face more than anything else. They didn't even know he had knees. It's like, knees, my smugness is up here, bitch. Keep your eyes where it belongs. There's no knees here, just a Negro, right? Like, that was what killed his case. No juror could look at that picture. I said this at the time. No juror can look at that picture, look at that video for 9 minutes and go, yeah, this guy's not guilty. Even if he wasn't guilty, it didn't matter because he looked like an asshole. And I don't want cops to look like assholes. I don't want that. I mean, a lot of them do. Some of them are nice and charming. Hey, what's up, buddy? But seriously, like, that video is what killed Derek Chauvin. I mean, we know what killed George Floyd. It rhymes with menthol. But what killed Derek Chauvin's case was the look on his face, the smugness, the attitude, his flippant and brazen comments. Oh, if you can talk, you can breathe, and all that stuff is fine. If he hadn't done those things, he might not be in jail. George Floyd would probably still be dead. But he did that. He put himself in prison with the way he acted. Doesn't mean he was actually guilty of the crime. And I know that's hard for people to wrap their heads around because being guilty of a crime, being convicted of a crime are still two separate things. You're still judged by a jury of people, and people are retarded. They're dumb. People together as a collective get dumber with every person you add. What is it? Wait, where's the thing? I have the thing. I'll show you. I have proof here.
But the people are retarded.
Exactly. You don't want to be judged by those people. And Chauvin let himself be judged on his smirk, not on his actions under the law. That video fucking killed him. Almsey says, I already said my piece. The left are retards that don't understand the Constitution. Fuck your hate speech ideals. There's only free speech. Also, YouTube, go to hell. I agree. There is only free speech. Hate speech is a fiction. It doesn't exist. Beulah Boy says, haven't seen you live in many months. You look like you're depriving yourself of snacks. Let me buy you a sandwich. Hey, thank you. Very much appreciated. I'm so happy. I'm almost able to like eat. I had a bowl of chili today. I didn't have to chew too much. It was so good. God, it was good. I think by tomorrow, I'll be able to like just eat normal food again. Oh, I cannot wait. Everything I eat right now has to be soft. Everything I eat right now has to be soft, like Bruce Jenner in the women's department or whatever. Here we go. Back to this.
As everyone did. It's so disturbing. And, you know, the underlying issues beneath that are something that the country is now struggling with. And I think it's something we have to look at very soberly and with a lot of empathy. And
I don't look at anything soberly.
You know, what it's taught me is we now have 4 other children of our own. And my oldest son, Jack, ironically, this year is 14. And I've thought often through all these ordeals over the last couple of weeks about the difference in the experiences between my 2 14-year-old sons, Michael being a Black American and Jack being white, Caucasian.
My 2 14-year-old sons, Michael being a Black American. That was a weird pause there. Plead the Fifth says, why soft food? Because I mentioned, I don't want to talk about this too much. It's on my bunch of mouth swelling and pain. And it made it really hard to eat since Wednesday of last week. So it's almost gone though. It's really nice. I've been starting to be able to like eat real food again, which is good, but it really kind of fucked everything up for a while there. So that's that. We don't need to talk about it too much. Yeah, back to this. A Black American, like Jesus.
Caucasian. They have different challenges. My son Jack has an easier path. He just does. The interesting thing about both of these kids, Michael and Jack, is they're both handsome, articulate, really talented.
Weird. Michael and Jack almost sounds like Michelangelo, which was a funny Ninja Turtle. So wait, he says the white one has an easier path than the black one, right? Like that's what he was saying. Did I get that right? I think that's what he said. Maybe not. But I think that's what he said. And he's like, he just does. And I don't know why. Because actually, the reality in the United States right now, and this is a hard thing for some people to hear, is that if you're a minority, but not in an economically deprived social class, so if you're a minority in the middle to upper class, you actually have the greatest golden path that you could possibly have, especially if you're Black or Hispanic. Like if you're Asian, it doesn't matter because you're not a minority. You're a fried rice cooking waiting. But if you're Black or Hispanic and you're in the upper middle to upper class, economically, you actually do have a golden path paved before you because you get access to all the things that says you're disenfranchised, that you are not, you're not viable because you're less of a person or whatever, because your skin color. Like you get all of the benefits that they grant to traditionally deprived minorities. I don't know if that's the way that they say it. Traditionally deprived demographic categories, but you don't have the actual economic burdens when you get to the upper middle and upper classes, especially. So you have all the economic advantage, but then you get the reverse discriminatory advantage of affirmative action piled on top of your already beneficial situation. And the real disparity, the real opportunistic disparity in America, and this is not something a government should fix, by the way, just because I pointed out. People make that mistake and you go, well, if you point out a disparity, that means you want the government to fix it. No. But the real disparity in opportunity in America is wealthy versus not wealthy, right? Like it is not an income disparity. It's a wealth disparity because lots of very wealthy people don't make much money because they have sufficient money to not need to make any at all. But the wealth disparity is the real economic ladder changing opportunity that is hard to overcome in America. If you are born to parents who are on welfare and will be on welfare for a significant portion of years, it becomes significantly harder for you to rise out of that. Usually because you're the product of single motherhood. You have absent fathers and the male figures in your life are terrible people who are abusive. to you, to your mother, to your siblings, to whoever, to everyone around them. They're full of rage. They're full of anger. They cannot hold down a job. Jesse Lee Peterson would make fun of them or whatever. Like all of that tends to be the reality that you grow up in. And that makes opportunity difficult. Does it mean the government should come in and rescue all of these people? No, of course not. The government's job is not to rescue us from our economic status. But if you're born into upper middle, wealthy class, or even if you ascend into it still while in childhood, you get opportunities that no one else gets. Those opportunities may just be the ability to take risks with less downside flaws, right? Like you can take a risk, and if you fail, it doesn't matter as much. That is a real product of economic opportunity that most people don't talk about. The ability to take risks with impunity, because your personal safety net is greater than the social safety net around you, right? Because the social safety net is welfare, but your personal safety net, if you come into a family that has comfort all the way up to excessive wealth, allows you to take risks and do things that no one else would be able to do, because if they failed, it would mean something catastrophic. If you fail, it means a setback. It means a setback and a reset. And that reset will be in comfort and luxury. That's the real disparity. But it's not the government's job to fix that. No one's job to fix that. Economic freedom means that anybody can go up and down that ladder at any point. And it's true as long as the government doesn't fuck around and make you find out. But it's not black versus white. It's not Hispanic versus black. It's not Asian versus the kitchen. It's none of those things. It's, God, I want some Chinese food. Jesus Christ, I'm hungry for some dumplings. Some wonton soup. But it's none of that. None of that matters. And the government doesn't need to fix that either. But the real thing, though, is that in the government's desperation to fix a perceived racial disparity that maybe did exist 50, 60 years ago, sure. In their haste to do that and to consistently fix what probably was fixed a long time ago, they've created a set of programs and opportunities for people within those minority demographics that ignore economic realities and allow even wealthy people in perception demographics like skin color, for example, allow them opportunities that aren't afforded to other people in the same economic category. That's where you get into trouble. That's where discrimination becomes real, or the reverse discrimination, or whatever you want to fucking call it, of affirmative action. And that's where I don't believe Mike Johnson here for a second, and him saying that his white son has better opportunities than black son. This guy is not a lower class or welfare dad. Like, he's sitting in front of a bunch of fake law books. Like, this guy's got the resources for his kids, no matter what color they are. Is he a military dad? Why does he have a black son? I'm guessing he adopted it. Let me see. I don't want his legal career. Well, it doesn't say early life and education. Where's his family? Does he have a family? He doesn't have a family life section on here. Oh, personal life. Here we go. He married Kelly Renee on May 1st, 1999. The Johnsons have said their marriage is a covenant marriage. Their primary residence is in Benton, Louisiana. They have 5 children, including an adult son, Michael Terrell James. Johnson met James at an event for Young Life. He met James at an event for Young Life Ministries, took him in, and assumed his legal guardianship when he was either 14 or 16. All right. Sounds weird. In 2019, Johnson said, we took custody of Michael and made him part of our family 22 years ago, and we were just newlyweds. Michael was just 14, was out on the streets, placing the event in 1997. But he got married in 99, so that's weird. In 2020, Johnson said, we took Michael in almost 20 years ago. He was 14. In 2015, German television story about the purity movement, Johnson and his then 13-year-old daughter, Hannah, were featured attending a purity ball. Dad, please don't ever, please, Dad, look, I'll be chased. Just please don't make me go to purity ball. Like, why? Kelly was also interviewed about premarital sex for the story. This is a fucking problem. You send your kid to the purity ball so they don't have sex, and then a news anchor in Germany interviews your 13-year-old daughter about premarital sex. Look, if someone walks up to my 13-year-old daughter and starts talking to her about premarital sex, I'm going to take an axe and chop his fucking nuts off and then feed him to him and chop his face off while he's chewing. Fuck that weird shit. But Christians are like, yeah, let's go talk about premarital sex with our preteens and young teenagers. That'll be good. We want them to really know how much we don't want them to have sex. Let's talk about it all the time. That's a weird facet of Christianity that I don't get. Here, girl, let's go talk to the news about premarital sex. That'll be good. We'll go to Dairy Queen afterwards. Why are they like this? Can't you just be normal? Johnson and his wife have co-hosted the podcast Truth Be Told since March 2022. Is that from like for King and Country? They Truth Be Told. That's a good song. I don't know if I like this podcast. Discussing public affairs and other issues from a Christian perspective. On his podcast, Johnson said that the word of God is, of course, the ultimate source of all truth, and attributed the success of the United States to its foundation upon a religious statement of faith. Johnson describes himself as first and foremost a Christian, an evangelical and Southern Baptist. He's not black enough to be a Southern Baptist. He has said, my faith informs everything I do. So there you go. Kind of like the purity thing. That gets weird, man. That shit. Like, look, I believe in virginity until marriage. Like, I think that's the ideal. I do think that's I don't think most people ever live up to that. I really don't. I think a lot of people fail that, but I think that's a good deal to shoot for. I think parents should encourage that in children. Like not having sex is a great way to avoid a lot of problems as a child, as a teenager, or whatever. The practicality is it doesn't abstinence doesn't always function, right? Like, because here's the thing with abstinence. If you mess up once, you don't have abstinence. It's like, whoa, Dick's Insider. Like, no, I'm suddenly not abstinent anymore. Like, and then you're like, well, this is cool. Right? Like, and especially if you like pull out and she leaves and doesn't bother you, you're like, oh, this is fine. Like, this wasn't bad at all. Like, I'm probably going to do that again tomorrow. Like, that's the reason abstinence fails, is because like you do abstinence, you're like, yes, this is awesome. I have the power of God and anime and virginity on my side. And you're like bowling 300s or whatever. And then all of a sudden you're walking past, like a Hardee's and you slip and fall. And oh my God, your balls deep in some woman. And you're like, well, this was actually, I feel like I was misrepresented about this act. This was kind of fun. And this is cool. And then you're like, I could go back to that abstinence thing, or nothing bad happened here. And that's when you have like 14 kids with different women's who are all named Tina. And I said women's because each one of them is at least 2 women wide, and they're all named Tina. Like, I get it. I know why it's a problem, but I'm just saying that's the hard part of abstinence, is once you fuck up abstinence, you're like, I don't really know if I want to go back to that other thing. Even if it's like once a year, that's awesome. Like, that's better than what I was doing, because like abstinence after you have not abstained feels kind of like lame. It's like if you've never been to a fried chicken buffet. Like, no, fried chicken's cool. Like, I'll eat it on a cake. And then you go to a fried chicken buffet and you're like, why have I never been to one of these before? Like, I can just get all the fried chicken I want. I don't even have to have the mashed potatoes that are made out of paper mache or whatever. I can just eat another chicken thigh because it's delicious. That's the abstinence problem. I still believe that abstinence is the right way. Like, I think you should abstain until marriage. Please do. I'm not advocating against that. I think it's the right thing. I'm just saying that once someone doesn't abstain, they're like, you know what? Chocolate's cool, man. Like, it's good. I want to eat it. Snickers are good. Skittles are good. Pick your poison. It doesn't matter. Why has everybody been hiding this from me? They knew. So you're like, Mom, Dad, you knew this was good? Like, you knew this? I thought this sucked, and you just did it once just to have me because you liked me. Turns out, oh no, you're fucking all the time? You assholes. Why didn't you tell me this was cool? Why? And your dad starts crying, and you realize he was never as tough as you thought. Scene.
Kids gifted by God to do lots of things, but the reality is, and no one can tell me otherwise, My son Michael had a harder time than my son Jack is going to have simply because of the color of his skin. And that's a reality. It's an uncomfortable, painful one to acknowledge. But people
Michael's the oldest son who's going to have a harder time than his son Jack because of the color of his skin. And again, I think I may disagree here. I may disagree here because if Michael were living in poverty and Jack were not, I'd probably agree with him. But when their economic status being equal, I don't think so. The thing that would make Michael more likely to have trouble than Jack is a product of being adopted or fostered, is that you almost guaranteed foster kids or adopted children, even if they're not cognizant of it, have a lasting trauma from when they're young, like from the severance of the parental relationship that existed before. And it doesn't always manifest till later, but in foster care, the mantra is these are all broken children, because you have to remember that these are broken children because you can't deal with them like normal children. You cannot. If you try to deal with a foster child as if they were a non-broken child, you'll be confused as to why the results don't come out right, because there's something that was lacking or missed. That's why they're in your house and not their parents' house, right? So that would be the thing that would be most likely to make Michael's life harder than Jack. And that's not a commentary on Mike Johnson, Michael, Jack, anybody else. It's just literally the product of adoption and being severed from a prior family and put into a new family. It's never a criticism of foster families or adoptive families. And those families know this shit because they see it and they deal with it. And what they do is they realize that that is part of the new person that they love, that they like any other issue that would come up with any of your children. You go, okay, this is part of this child of mine. I've adopted, I've chosen, I've brought into my life. I love them, which means I have to love this part of them and I have to learn to love them differently than I might a different child. But that's okay. Like, that's fine. But let's not pretend that that's a way bigger factor than his skin color as someone who lives in a definitely upper middle class family.
people have to recognize that's a fact.
What should we do about that?
I think that we really do need systematic change. I think we need transformative solutions.
Systematic change for our systemically racist country. How bold and courageous. So turns out Mike Johnson did not denounce the BLM rioters. He didn't hold any press conference at the site of any of these riots. And
this was called a two-coquet fallacy, Matt Walsh. Thank you. I know you'll like it because it rhymes with cock. William Jefferson Clinton says, your title had me at oral. I knew I would, Billy. How you doing, buddy? Get below the desk and you'll tell me. Good Rat says, haven't been able to keep up with your show for a long time, but I hope you and the family are doing well, man. We are. There's some rocky shit. You know, life gets fucking complicated, but things are on the up right now. It's really good. Let's get back to this for a little bit.
condemn the protesters to their faces. He didn't tell them to go home. Instead, he went on national television and declared that George Floyd was murdered. He threw Derek Chauvin under the bus and then proceeded to validate and agree with the BLM rioters and their claims about systemic racism in America.
Maybe he does agree with them. Who cares, though? Like, he didn't go out and tell him to stop rioting. He's a government. He's a speaker. He was a U.S. representative. What's he going to fucking do? I'm going to go stop BLM. Was he even? Wait. When was he in office? How fucking long has this guy been in the office? He assumed office January 3rd, 2017. Okay, so yeah. He was there. That's good. But like, what's he going to do? He's a Louisiana congressman. He's like, stop protesting. Like, what's he going to do? Go on national television. Stop that!
That's what he did. And now he wants us to give him credit because he's at Columbia University making fun of the dumb college kids. I don't give him any credit for that.
Oh, good.
And
don't.
I'm picking on Mike Johnson here for good reason. He's the Speaker of the House. But I could play this game with almost any Republican politician who has been vocal in their denunciations of the so-called Free Palestine movement. Almost none of them showed even a fraction of that boldness when BLM was terrorizing not just Ivy League campuses, but the entire country, whole cities.
This is a two-coquet fallacy. Two-coquet means you also. It means that when someone brings up a point, like, hey, this guy's speaking out against this thing. You go, well, but he didn't speak out against this, though. He didn't do this hard enough. Therefore, this. This is a common logical fallacy where it's like, you don't get to say, well, he didn't do this one thing hard enough, therefore it's not valid when he does it now. If he's right now, he's right. If he's wrong now, he's wrong. It doesn't matter if he was right or wrong in the past. I don't know if Matt Walsh knows what a fallacy is because he doesn't know. Well, if he did, he'd know what a woman is.
These communities of normal people, not these dumb college, Ivy League college kids. Regina Chaley Academy is an accredited pre-K through 12 classical homeschool hybrid academy.
Oh my God.
For Catholic families in cities across the U.S. They provide
I don't want to hear your ad for Catholic private school. Like, Jesus Christ. No.
Nashville, Tennessee for a night of encouragement and camaraderie. I'll be speaking alongside Dr. Abby Johnson and Father Calloway on how to have courage and stand up for the truth. No matter what adversity you face, we'll be joined by some of the most influential leaders. And if you can't attend, please consider donating today. Support families and continue to train the heart, mind, and the soul. Every dollar counts. For tickets, visit courageunderfiregala.org and use code DailyWire at checkout. That's courageunderfiregala.org and use code DailyWire. Can't wait to see you there.
So again, the thing about Matt Walsh here is I agree with him that Speaker Johnson doesn't deserve any credit for what he's saying about these protests on campus. But that's because Johnson doesn't deserve any credit because he's wrong. He's wrong about it. He's not honoring the First Amendment. He's saying that the government should intervene. He's doing all the wrong things. That's why he doesn't deserve any credit. Not because he didn't call out BLM in the past. That has nothing to do with his credit that he would get on this. Some people are wrong at one time and change their minds and become right about something later. And you don't go, oh, well, you were wrong back then. You're like, well, yeah, but I changed my mind. Like I looked at it and I was like, oh, fuck, I was way wrong. Now I'm doing the right thing. Like, that's good. We want that. We want people to come to better conclusions. That's the problem with the two cocaine fallacies. Like, haha, you didn't do the thing before. And you're like, I know. That's why I'm doing it now. Because I was wrong then. Like, nope, invalid. Like, no. We don't want that. We want them to come to correct conclusions. And when they do, we want them to share those, even if they were wrong in the past. So again, he's right in saying that Johnson doesn't deserve any credit, but he's wrong on why. He's giving us the dumbest reason ever. Well, he didn't do this back then. Why don't you say he's wrong just because he's fucking wrong and it's obvious?
Now, of course, the same can even more be said for the people in corporate media, academia, elsewhere who have been speaking out against the campus protests this month. All of them, literally all of them, were on the side of these same activists 4 years ago when those activists were looting and burning our cities. Now, this is not just some cheap gotcha moment. The point is that most
literally
of these people
is
pretending to be shocked and appalled by the campus protests are at least partially to blame for them. You validated these activists and their tactics. In fact, you validated tactics much worse, much more destructive, much more disruptive than this. And now you're speaking out without ever acknowledging your own role in this or apologizing for your cowardice. And why are you speaking?
You don't have to apologize for your cowardice in the past if you're right now. The problem is Johnson still isn't right, but it has nothing to do with the 4 years ago. You're really concerned. Think about this. Honestly, like assess your life. Let's say that 4 years ago, you made a bad decision in your life. I don't know. You went to Chipotle when they had a spinach warning out and you got food poisoning, right? Now, 4 years later, you look at a Chipotle, you go, God, it was kind of good, except my asshole still hurts. So maybe instead, I'm going to go to Qdoba or Pancheros or something. Like, you're going to get a different burrito somewhere else. 4 years later, you've chosen the better burrito than the Chipotle shit that you bought before. And someone goes, where were you 4 years ago, you asshole? You could have gone to Pancheros back then. Did you know they warm up? Oh, not only do they warm up the tortilla, they take that dough ball, they make the tortilla right in front of you, fuck. You didn't know that 4 years ago, did you piece of shit? Because you're sitting there, you're in Chipotle apologist. Your liberal ingredients or whatever. Hope you got your salmonella and you liked it, you fucker, 4 years ago. 4 years, fuck you. I hope you had salmonella for 4 years. I hope you have now still. You're like, but no, I went to Pancheros. Like, I learned that Chipotle was bad 4 years ago because I'm still shitting wrong and I just went to Pancheros today. They chop up their meat into little cubes. It's Like the cubes aren't as good, but everything else is better. Like you do that. And we're like, think about your life 4 years ago. Do you make the same choices now as you did 4 years ago? I fucking hope not. Like on basic shit, you don't. And if we're going to shame everybody over their 4 years ago opinion and make their current opinions invalid because of 4 years ago, then we're idiotic. Let people change for the better. Why do we do this? Conservatives are the worst about this. You weren't conservative enough back in 2006. It's like, oh my God, in 2006? Do you even remember what America was like in 2006? I wasn't conservative enough back then. Oh my God, they still had to drive through Wendy's in my town. I could get a fucking Freezy, or Frosty. What are those called? I don't even know anymore. I haven't been to a Wendy's in so long.
Out now. Why now, but not back then? Well, because the BLM movement of 2020 was anti-white, and it is not safe to denounce anti-whiteism, which is why Mike Johnson.
I denounce anti-whiteism. There, I'm not safe now. Thanks, Matt Walsh. It's not safe. These weirdos and their goddamn like $40+ million contracts at the Daily Wire are like, it's not safe to say this dangerous speech, but we'll do it anyway. They don't even have bodyguards. You know what they have? Jerk-off machines. When they want to open their door to leave to get in their fucking Aston Martin in their garage or whatever, there's just like a little man-shaped mouth or whatever down about waist level. And they're like, this door doesn't have any hit. Oh, that's right. I'll just put my dick in this thing. It goes, and it's got like an AI blow-bon in there. And that's how they get into their fucking garages. Oh, it's so unsafe to have the opinions of Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh is never safe. Has this man, like, what danger is Matt Walsh in other than danger of being twink of the month at the fucking gay bar? Seriously. They always do this. It's so dangerous for me to talk about this. You can't say I'm opposed to anti-whiteism. Yes, you can. I'm opposed to anti-whiteism. I love white people. White people are so cool. I will hang out with white people all day. They pay their taxes. They have good credit. They bring me around to nice places. They have me talk to priests. Like I'm so pro-white. White power, white supremacy, or whatever. Like, what do you want to say? It's so fucking dangerous, right? Like, oh, they're gonna go out in the streets of their fucking upper class neighborhood in Dallas, where they haven't seen a black person since 1865, and they're gonna walk out into their yard. Oh my God, they're like, look, Pablo, you're not dark enough to be dangerous to me. These fuckers are never in danger. They're so goddamn rich, it's embarrassing. They're like, this is so dangerous. Seriously, the one black guy they know is at the Popeyes. They don't tell their wives they go to, and they pay cash so she doesn't see it on her credit card statement. What the fuck? It's so dangerous for Matt Walsh to say anything. Matt Walsh has been saying dumb bullshit for a better part of a decade. No one's ever even come up and tried to put their fucking penis in his ribs, much less a knife. These guys are such cowards. I'm so fucking tired of this. Ben Shapiro. I'm so dangerous because I'm a Jew. Oh yeah, Ben. How many banks do you own? Fuck you. You literally own a media company that gets to say whatever it wants. You speak at 2x speed and Google has to slow you down. The Jews at Google have to slow you down, Ben. These people are never in danger. Oh, I went to a campus and they threw me out. Blah, blah, blah. I'm going to get a fire to take care of me. The fire's going to represent me. My free speech was stifled. You were in danger like AOC was in danger in the other fucking county in Washington, D.C. while protesters were jerking off on Nancy Pelosi's podium. Fuck you. Oh, God, I hate these people. I hate them. None of these people are ever in danger. Guys, these people are in danger of breaking a nail on the automatic door at the grocery store before they're in danger from a black coming up and killing them in their gated goddamn communities. Their wives drive them around.
Johnson never has denounced it and never, ever, ever will. And we all know that. It is much safer and much more acceptable in polite society to denounce anti-Semitism.
You think Mike Johnson lives in polite society in Congress as the Republican Trump representative? I tell you what, Matt Walsh, for all your little fucking pontificating, you pansy bitch, you're out there, you hang around the Daily Wire offices. Everybody there is sucking the cum drizzle off the Krispy Kremes that you all bet on. Nobody there puts you in danger ever. Mike Johnson at least has to walk in and be threatened by AOC's teeth ripping the skin off of his fucking cock. None of you know the danger of a Mike Johnson. That guy is not in danger by any stretch. You know what? Neither am I. Do you know why? I choose to see black people. That's how goddamn white and privileged I am, is I have to choose to see a black person on the average day. I don't have to do that. I don't have to do, my bike isn't in danger. I can put my bike out in the yard with a sign that says, take me. And my neighbor will take it to my door and say, you left this there. That's where I am. And I live in a more diverse place than Matt Walsh. Fuck these people. Jesus Christ. I hate them because they do this behind $50 million contracts and they pretend like they're in danger and we just need your support. Please just donate. Please just follow the Daily Wire. What's that guy's name with Jeremy Boring or whatever? Emphasis on boring. Oh my God, that's the title of his wife's sex tape. Boring. Fuck these people. All of them suck. All of them are never in danger. None of them have ever walked into where? Oh, well, what? You grew up in the inner city of Detroit? Like what, you might get a sprinkle of cocaine on you somewhere? No, wait, that's probably too rich. They definitely get sprinkles. They'd probably take cocaine showers. Ignore that. What is a black person going to ask you to light their crack pipe tomorrow? No. You know why? Again, I have to try to see black people. I have to try. Like I go out just to make sure my vision doesn't become monochromatic. Like I don't want to end up in that fucking weird that movie where everybody saw in black and white or whatever. So I'm like, oh God, I gotta find a Mexican today just so the fucking cones and rods in my cornea can actually still see color. These guys have it even easier. You know why? Because they fired the only black person they ever saw, which was Candace Owens. They're like, haha, we got one. And she has straight hair, not that nappy shit. And they kept her around forever. And they were so happy that she was too stupid to negotiate a better contract. They're like, we're paying her fucking nothing. And then she saw Steven Crowder turn down this massive contract. She's like, why would he turn down a contract that they offered? The Daily Wire offers only good. Oh my God, I fucking fucked up, didn't I? And Ben Shapiro's like laughing in money. He's like, this is all the gold I would have given to Candace Owens' children when she died, but now I won't. It goes to mine instead. That's what they're sitting around. They're like, they got rid of the one black they used to see. And they only saw her remotely. And they're acting like they're imperiled by their opinions. Never has a milady doth protest too much applied more than fucking Matt Walsh. Matt Walsh, what is a woman? You, when you talk about being in danger of talking about black people, you bitch. Fuck these people. God damn it. Oh, God, I hate them. Oh, I hate them. I hate them.
So they're happy to do so. There's nothing wrong with denouncing anti-Semitism, of course. Anti-Semitism, actual anti-Semitism, which is the hatred of Jewish people for being Jewish, is evil and should be denounced. And very often...
Why should anti-Semitism be denounced? Let's get to the principle of this, though. Like, this is different. Free speech, that's government, right? First Amendment's government. He just said anti-Semitism is evil and should be denounced. Why? Matt, why should it be denounced? I don't want people to be anti-Semitic. Do I denounce it? I don't give a fuck. Like, go anti-Semite or pro-Semite all over the place. Go anti-white, pro-white, go anti-black, pro-black, whatever you do. I'm not going to denounce your shit. Why? It should be denounced. Should be denounced. That means that people with a voice should denounce, right? That's not a government thing. That's a free thing. People should freely choose to denounce something. Why, though? Why do I care about anti-Semitism? I'm not a Jew. I'm a Disney. Like, what is it? Look at this. This is the subtlety of the trad right grift. This is it. Here you go. Well, like, look, the government shouldn't do it, but we should all denounce anti-Semitism. Why should we? Again, look, I don't want people to hate Jews. I like the media. I like having Hulu on my TV or whatever. I want Jews around. I want to actually like They have some good food somewhere, don't they? What's that like giant fucking cracker that they call bread because they've never heard of yeast or self-rising flour? What's that one? Like it's matzah or whatever. Like that thing's good. It's like a saltine cracker but bigger. They're like, oh, well, they just took like a sheet of crackers and didn't cut them. I like that thing. That thing's good. That's very Jewish. They eat like lambs or something. I don't know. The lamb chops are good. But like, I don't give a shit though. Like if you hate Jews, I'm like, oh, I guess. I don't have the energy to hate Jews, but you can. What are you drinking? Is it a Celsius? Is it a Monster? Like, is it Jolt? Is it just Faygo? Like, are you just drinking Faygo? You got that Detroit energy going? Like, do you paint your face like a clown or whatever? Are you a juggalo at night and you're like, dead dirty carnies, dead juggalos walk hand in hand with the Jews to the ovens? Like, what is it? What do you do? Like, how do you have the energy for this? I don't have the energy to hate anybody except everybody I know personally. Like, I don't want to hate like categories of people. I'm like, you. Like to the mailman or whatever. Like, I hate that guy. I don't have a mailman, actually. I have a mail woman. Here's how bad the mail woman is. So I have a P.O. box, and we don't receive mail at our house. This is just a side story. We have a mail woman, and so we receive certain things at our house, like deliveries that go through FedEx or UPS. Now, FedEx and UPS and Amazon, they have these last mile contracts where they will actually deliver the U.S. Postal Service a FedEx or UPS or Amazon package. Sometimes, not all of them, they'll do that, and then the post office will fulfill the last mile. Now, if you have a P.O. box, you can't designate that last mile service to your P.O. box. It doesn't work because they choose it by their contract. Like FedEx will not deliver to a P.O. box. That's illegal, apparently, because the government's fucking retarded. But FedEx has to deliver to your door. Same with UPS. However, if they have a last mile contract, they'll deliver it via USPS. And so they'll bring it to the post office and the post office person will deliver it. Well, my post office lady has a bad back, which means doesn't want to work, right? So when I get a package that has last mile delivery on it that I don't have any choice over this. I just have to select it comes to my house because I'm doing like overnight mailing or, some priority mailing, some priority shipping, I should say, that it would come right to my door. Instead, my mail lady has a bad back and brings it to the fucking post office. And then I have to go pick it up. I'm like, this is the opposite of what I wanted. I wanted it at my door, specifically paid extra to have it at my door, like by UPS or FedEx or Amazon or whatever. And then you just took it to the post office, which I couldn't even select the post office thing, you fuck. I got a bad back. Bad back, this is 9 pounds. This isn't even heavy. This is smaller than the brownie you're eating right now, you fatso. I fucking hate the mail person. The mail person at the post office, super nice. I like her. She's great. She's cool. She gives my kids suckers and stuff. So your kids want suckers? I'm like, yes. That's the extent of our conversations. We have the best relationship on earth. But no, I don't have time to hate. She's not Jewish. I don't have time to hate Jews. If Jews gave my kids suckers, I'd be like, why are you giving my kids suckers? You're not a post office employee. Get away, Jared Fogle or whatever. But like, that's what I would. But I don't have time to hate categories of people. I have time to hate people I know personally. That's who I want to hate. Like, yeah, I know you and I hate you. Fuck you. But like, if you want to go do it, go ahead. I just don't have that kind of energy anymore. Tired, man. I'm old. So like, if you want to go anti-Semitism, it must be denounced. Why? Oh my God. They can't even eat bacon. Fuck them. Like, I'm going to denounce it? I don't care to denounce anything. You can be anti everything on earth. Like, why am I compelled to denounce a fucking concept? I hate this. This is the weird thing. Look at this face. Look at this fucking loser. You're right. We got to denounce it, right? We have to denounce it. Ben, don't fire me. We have to denounce it. Ben, don't fire me. Ben, use the whip this time. Look, he's sitting there. He's like, should be denounced. Should be denounced. Why should it be denounced, Matt? Why should anti-Semitism be denounced as a category? Categorical statements like should be X don't make sense. Like maybe you hate Jews because Jews raped your cat or whatever. Maybe you love Jews because Jews gave you a gold bar. I don't know. I don't know your experience. I know some Jews. They're cool. They're nice people. I got a Jew or two in my family who I really like. Like Joe Neerman, that guy's great. He's not my family, but he's great. Like I'd hang out with him. Not on the Sabbath, obviously, because we couldn't watch Jew football or something because you can't turn on the TV because that's too much work. Silly Jews. But no, like Ron Coleman, he's a good Jew. I like that guy. I don't care about like if someone's like their Jewishness or not Jewishness doesn't make me like or hate anybody. But I also don't feel compelled to like fix the anti-Semitism of a random person or a bunch of college kids don't know how to eat cereal. And we're like, I can't believe they don't like Jews. Like, really? I can't believe they don't like Frosted Flakes. What kind of fag are you that you're worried about Jewish people? Oh my God. What New York tunnels do you live in? Honestly, it's the weirdest fucking thing because this always happens. They'll talk about free speech until the end of the fucking year. And they're like, but we got to denounce anger towards black people. Like, why? Have you met some of them? You don't want to hang out with some of them. And other ones are super cool. Like Drexel, that guy's funny. I want to hang out with him all the time. Like if all black people were Drexel, the world would be a better place. It'd be more single. Wait, no, it literally wouldn't be more single mothers be the same. Beast. But seriously, like why are conservatives always like not conservative people, conservative commentators, what they're always like this. They're like, I love free speech. The Constitution's great. I fucking scrub my ball sack with the Constitution in the shower. My pocket Constitution goes right up my ass until I get to the airport or whatever. And they're like, and then they're like, but what? Like free speech is awesome. Like, have you heard people are being negative toward Estonians? Estonians? Oh my God, I hope so. People being negative to Estonians is better than what Estonians normally get, which is forgotten. Night Dog says, Walsh mail is delivered via grinder. It's all in messages. Describe your breasts using only picture of your cock. Alex Scott Thompson says, my pocket Constitution doubles as a pocket pussy. God, I love America. Yeah. If you can fuck the Constitution, that's awesome. That's the coolest thing ever. Chicks, if you're looking for like one of those micro tattoos, like have the entire Constitution printed on one of your labia, just do that. Every man will cream their pants immediately and then give you the greatest night of your life every night for the rest of your life. That's how it goes. I'm going to get one on my vagina tomorrow.
Is denounced by both sides of the political divide. However sincere or insincere that may be with their denunciations, they do denounce it all the time. But hating white people for being white is evil too. And
is it though? Like, look, we got to think about this. If hating Jews for being Jews isn't evil, is hating white for being white evil? No. Because it's a morally neutral position. Like literally, this is a thing that is really tough. I don't hate white people sometimes, except when I go to Subway and realize they don't put mayonnaise on the bread right. And I'm like, what minority did you learn from on mayonnaising bread? But like most of the time, like white people are great. I guess they like make a country or whatever. I live in it. It's got freedoms. That's great. Canada sucks though, and that's mostly white people. It's like white people aren't all good because Canada exists and so does Finland, and fuck both of those weird places. But seriously, like I don't hate white people for being white. I don't hate anybody for being anything. But if we're allowed to hate one race for being a race, like shouldn't we be allowed to hate any race for being any race? Or is Matt Walsh saying we're not allowed to hate a race for being a race? Is it just white that's sacrosanct? Or is it like Filipino? Like Filipino, they're like tacos that swim or whatever. Like what race is okay to hate for being the race and what race is not okay to hate for being the race? Because he just said we should denounce anti-Semitism. Now like hating white people is evil. Does he think hating black people for being black is evil? I actually don't. I know that's a hard take for a lot of people. But my experience is not yours, right? Like if you woke up tomorrow in Juarez after being raped by like 95 Mexican government officials and you hate Hispanic people because they're Hispanic. Like, why am I going to argue with you? That's a lot of rape. That's a whole lot. That's like almost like UT Austin levels, right? That's the average Thursday. But like for you, that's a lot of rape, right? Like, so why am I to judge what you like? Are you going to be naturally averse to Hispanic? You're like, well, only Mexicans, not Hondurans. They didn't do it. You could tell, I guess. I don't know. But like, it's not my experience. I don't hate anybody based on their race or religion or whatever. Like, I'm just me. Like, I really don't hate that. I think there's a list of people that I actually hate. If I'm being candid and honest, it's like 6, 7 people total in the world that I actually hate. I can name them, but most people, like, I just don't care that they exist. But none of it is based on them being a particular race, except for one of them. It's a joke. It's not really except for one of them. It's all of them. But no, like what race is okay to hate based on their race and what race isn't gets into this weird place. But why do I get to impose the logical or moral? Why do I get to impose the moral prerequisites for what hatred is allowable? Because that's what Matt Walsh is doing here. Like, well, hating for race is not okay. Well, why? Because my morality doesn't allow it. But what if someone has a reason to hate a race based on its race? Right? Like, what if you're a Filipino who wants to be a power lifter? Like, you're probably not going to get, so you maybe, like, as a Filipino, hate Filipinos for being Filipino because you'll never be a power. Like, it's not going to happen. Right? Like, maybe you're an American boy who wants to be a gymnast. Fuck you. You should be a Chinese girl if you want to be an American male gymnast. That's how that works. They'll pump you full of testosterone. You'll be 13. You'll have a bigger dick than everybody else. I don't know. Like, why does Matt Walsh's morality get to dictate which hatred is okay? If you go like to the Bible, he's a Catholic, right? If you go to the Bible and look at what hatred is okay, you find out that not really any of it's okay. Like there isn't a justifiable reason for hatred, which means there's no like unjustifiable reason either, because hatred is just bad inherently. Not everybody follows the Bible very well. I'm pretty good at it. Remember when Paul said, "Thou shalt not drink a mango smoothie full of mushrooms"? I didn't do that either. Mushrooms are gross. Social Observer says, Nightwave is suing those commie bastards at the wellness company. Will you represent? No way, the wellness company sponsors this show. I don't want to sue those guys. Wait, is Nightwave actually suing them? Why? Oh, okay, here's what I want to do. I'm gonna send a message to Mersh. I'm gonna ask him to come on and tell me why they're suing the wellness company. And that interview will be sponsored by the wellness company. I will do the ad read in the middle of it. Is that cool? Like, can we do that? Can you hate me for being black then? Like, that's what I want to do. I'll invite on Mersh and, oh wait, fuck, Mersh is here. Nightwave Radio says, Macho Man finna become Hulk Hogan. You're all going down, Ricada. You, the wellness company, Rumble, Birch Gold, you're all going to prison. Yes, Mersh. Hey, buddy, I miss you, man. I have a confession for Mersh. I was really mad at you because like I messaged you on Twitter and I'm like, hey man, want to like talk? Like it's been a long time since we had that one night in Tampa, down on the beach, that restaurant on the peninsula. Like you had seafood. I can't even remember what I had. It didn't matter. I was looking longingly into your eyes. We talked about BMWs and bouncing at strip clubs or whatever. I held you in my arms that night, Mersh. I held you and I was like, I'm going to message him on Twitter. But I messaged a troll account. It wasn't even you. I'm like, why is this faggot not responding to me? Fuck you, Mersh. What's wrong with you? Can you not see me around your BMW? Jesus Christ. But it wasn't even you. It wasn't you, Mersh. It was someone pretending to be you. I was like, why isn't he responding? And I was like, oh, wait, this is a parody account. This is what happened to me. Man, we got to talk. I'd love to have you on the show and definitely want to do a expose on the wellness company while doing a wellness company ad. That's the funniest thing I can think of doing in my entire life. I'll help you do you can help me do the ad read even. We'll work it out. I think we can take their copy that they send me and we can together modify it to make it a better ad. Do you want to do that? That'll be great. But seriously, I think I could text you. I'll text you or whatever. It's been too long, man. I wanted to talk. I was like messaging you on Twitter. I'm like, what? I absentmindedly was like, this isn't even him. Social Observer says the wellness company is run by George Soros. Prove me wrong. Why would I prove you wrong? Night Rave Radio says I just followed you from my real account. Okay, brother. I'll I'll message you. I was like, why isn't Merge talking back to me? We hung out twice. It was cool. I liked him. We went to dinner. I was so mad. What a bitch. Me, not you. I wouldn't call you a bitch. I'd call Matt Walsh a bitch. Speaking of bitches, we're going to do the flip over to Rumble exclusivity. I normally do this in an hour. It's been an hour and 35 minutes. I've just been too happy making fun of Matt Walsh. Look at him. Guys, if you want to make fun of my hairline, can we please, can I have a hairline race with Matt Walsh? We'll have a race war with Matt Walsh. But like a hairline race, we'll do that one. Like which one is retreating from her face faster? I'll put on black frame glasses. He only likes the black frames because they're bigger than the other frames. All right, here we go. We're going to flip over to Rumble exclusively. It's going to be 25 seconds. And yes, I will take a bathroom break. I'm going to try and keep it much shorter today. Like Asian levels of shortness. We'll do that. And then we'll get back to Matt Walsh and then we'll start the Supreme Court. I hope you guys are enjoying the show. I really do. If you want to follow me over to Rumble, click on the link in the pinned chat or the description on YouTube. Either way, please click like on the YouTube channel. And Rumbleites, please click like on the Rumble channel. I love you all. I love you all. Even the Jews. But I will not forgive you for Jimmy Kimmel. All right, Rumble transition, 25 seconds. See you in a bit.